Hey, my name's Scott from NRG Boost Fitness.
How you doing, Scott?
Really well, thanks Josh.
I've got Scott here from NRG Boost Fitness, and today we're going to be talking about taking the plunge in business. And my understanding is you've been in business for a while, and about 12 months ago you decided to go for some bricks and mortar.
Yeah, exactly right. I've been in the fitness industry now for over 20 years, but in business for myself for coming up to 8 years.
Yep.
And very close to 12 months in my own premises.
I think it's a big discipline thing when you get your own business and you sort of take a plunge and you sort of do something that you sort of think, well, should I, shouldn't I? And you take the risk. Exactly
right. You sort of get rid of that safety net and you're just forced to step up. And it's an enormous growth experience, and I'm really pleased that I did.
A lot of people get into business and they don't necessarily make the appropriate planning before jumping in and understanding the depth of the water and realizing how deep it goes and how much is actually involved in running your own business. Especially when you're starting up, you need to be the technical person, you need to be the administration, you need to be the marketer, the salesperson, you do all of the different things. Was there any steps that you sort of went, oh shit, wasn't expecting that to be a hurdle?
Yeah, not really. But the point you make about a lot of business people taking the plunge but not realizing the depth of the water they're diving into. In my industry, it might be somebody that says, I can run a gym, and they take on this big operation, and then it's not until they're in it they realise what an undertaking it is. So I was pretty happy to start with a personal training studio that's literally a couple of 100 metres around the corner from home. So it suited my lifestyle, and I've been really comfortable with the size of the jump, so to speak. There's certainly been things that I've had to learn as I went along,
of course,
but that was the whole point to begin with, was to learn new things and challenge myself.
Well, I think it's very sensible the way that you've gone about the business, because as you said, a lot of people might just go in and they jump straight into a lease. They don't have any clientele and they have no idea about marketing. They just think they get some business cards and then people will come, build it, and they will come, and that's not how it really works.
Yeah. Well, I think getting back to one of your earlier questions about community, I've done things outside of here for the broader community, but I place great emphasis on the importance of building a community within your business. In much the same way that a cafe might do the same thing. There are hundreds of cafes Brisbane-wide, and what makes you choose one over another? And it's generally the one where you feel most welcome and almost like it's a second home. And so that's what I try to do here.
I'd like to cut across to a quick video that discusses more about taking the plunge, and we'll talk a bit more about that afterwards.
It's big, it's wet, it's wild. That's right, it's Niagara Falls, and if you've ever been here or any other large waterfall, you might have wondered what would it be like just to jump in. So there was this time where Sam Patch, who was the first daredevil to take the plunge over Niagara all the way back in 1829, his shot to fame and slogan became part of a popular slang. The slang was, "Some things can be done as well as others." It's a great line. You could take it to mean that our achievements are equal, or you could also take it like we're each trying to do our own thing as best we can. Or maybe he was telling us that we can do those things that others think are impossible. So what about you? What's your Niagara Falls? What's that big challenge that you are scared to take on? Well, let me tell you, it's often much easier than you think once you just commit to it. For Sam Patch, he was actually pretty disappointed with the crowd that turned up for his first successful attempt. There was bad weather and he'd been delayed. So he'd announced that he'd do it again a few days later. This time, 10,000 people turned up and he cemented his place in history. So if old Sam can jump off Niagara Falls twice, there's nothing to stop you taking the plunge. Woo!
Welcome back. Lovely back. good to be back. I thought that was pretty good. I sort of went through that, and you can sort of see sometimes it's not the first time, the first step, but just taking the plunge and just being the person that commits to that can really make a big difference in your business. So
yeah, well, just one point I'd like to add to that, Josh. As any person should do when making a decision, you'll have your moments of bravery and you'll have your moments of fear. Mm-hmm. And ultimately for me, it came down to a fear of financial risk. And when I really thought about it, I then fast forwarded to when I'm 80 years of age and I look back, and if I hadn't done this, what would have been the reason that I didn't? Would I be comfortable with that decision? And if it was just a money thing that held me back, I think I would look back and regret it and be disappointed that I wasn't bolder at the time. So yeah, I think it's a useful exercise sometimes to fast forward to when you're in your final years. Yep. Will you wish that you had have taken more risks?
Definitely, I agree completely. So what would you say would be the life tip or quote that you live by?
Not being a victim in life and basically taking absolute personal responsibility for your life circumstances.
Yep.
I just believe that as soon as you blame somebody else or other people for your situation is when you give away your power. Sure, bad things are going to happen in your life and some will be other people's fault, but it's how you respond to that really makes the difference.
Yep.
And if you're overweight, you can continue blaming this, blaming genetics, whatever the case might be, but ultimately if you eat better and exercise, you're going to improve that situation.
Absolutely. And it's all about baby steps and getting there, sometimes understanding your weak points and turning them into your strengths.
Exactly.
That's very good advice. Cool. And we're going to do something here. So we're going to do a shout out. I'd like to see if there's maybe another business coach, leader, or business that you think would benefit from having a review and the greater public would benefit from hearing from them.
Yeah, well, certainly one of the best things I've done in recent years in terms of developing my own business expertise, for want of a better term, is I undertook an internship with a business called Create PT Wealth, an 18-month personal training business internship, and it covered all sorts of things, business systems, marketing, the whole gamut of things. What I learned in 18 months has been a massive reason behind where I'm at today in terms of having my own premises and being very happy with my professional life. So
definitely.
Thank you to Create PT Wealth.
Cool. Well, I think we should all take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And give yourselves a clap.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you very much.
No worries, Josh. Thank you.
Awesome.